I left $500,000 on the table last year, not because I didn't know what to do, but because I couldn't make myself to do it. And the worst part is that I was busy the entire time. See, nobody told you the simple truth that the same thing that keeps you stuck gets stronger the more you avoid it. And every fix you try makes things worse, not better, if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works at the brain level, and I'm going to share my exact numbers. Because you know exactly how it feels. The higher you need to do that you're just postponing, or the outreach you've been preparing so long that preparing has become the job and you haven't yet launched. See, what looks like laziness really is a nervous system response that keeps you working on the wrong things. And that happened to me. For months, I knew exactly what I needed to do to grow Selfmastered faster. For years, we've been relying on YouTube and, more importantly, referrals. People love our product and I had never had to actively sell it. But now it was time to finally expand. And I identified the best system for this: LinkedIn DMs, direct outreach, 20 conversations a day, targeted and systematic. I had the data, I had the system, yet I didn't launch it. I rewrote the script 11 times. Not because it needed 11 rewrites. The third version was already good enough, but because rewriting felt like working, but really was smart procrastination. And underneath it, there was a thing I couldn't name at a time. It was fear of feeling exposed. Fear of having to sell something that subconsciously I believe needs to be sold automatically. Something that I've labored 8 years to make as close as perfect as possible. But my nervous system found a solution, which is keeping me busy, convincingly busy on things that were not actively selling the thing through the DMs. And this looks like procrastination, but it is really a load limit response. I asked my brain to execute on something that exceeded the current capacity to tolerate discomfort. So it finds the nearest activity that produces a reward without triggering your threat system. So you rewrite the script instead of sending it. You refine things instead of running it. You prepare instead of starting. And that substitution feels like work because neurologically, you're working. Your brain is genuinely engaged, genuinely spending energy. The only thing missing is output on the right things. And every time you don't do what you know you need to do, you're training your brain to actively get better at procrastinating this way. The solution is to build a higher ceiling, one avoided task at a time. And every ceiling is built from 3 specific materials: skills, beliefs, and behaviors. Beliefs determine what you allow yourself to attempt. My belief was that I built the best performance system after 8 years, and clients should naturally come to me as they were coming. Since I was mostly relying on referrals, it just made sense. But that created a subconscious belief that outreach was beneath me. So that belief was running every time I opened the LinkedIn DMs and I actively decided to do something else. Then we have skills. Skills determine what you can execute under pressure. Not whether you know how, but whether you can stay regulated while doing it. I knew how to write a DM. What I hadn't trained is the capacity to tolerate exposure of sending it. And finally, behaviors, where are the defaults when the load exceeds capacity. Mine defaulted to refinement. But every founder, especially if it's smart, has a version of a higher effort activity that substitutes perfectly with the thing that should actually be doing. And these 3 layers, beliefs, skills, and behaviors, have a load limit. If your business demands more than the limit you can carry, your whole system throttles and you stop being productive on the right thing. Now, this is not a character flaw. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a capacity problem. And as every capacity problem, it can be expanded. The problem is that you've been sold external solutions that can only be processed at the level of your current internal capacity. You can have the perfect $10 million strategy, but if you're running it on 2 million nervous system, you're gonna get a 2 million results. The strategy isn't wrong. The operating system behind the strategy, your own brain, has to be trained to carry the load. That's why I bought every outreach course that I knew about, but none of them touched the belief that sending the DMs would make me risk something. None of them trained the nervous system response to stay regulated while doing it. The ceiling was not my knowledge, it was my wiring. You can't outlearn the load limit, you can't outspend it, and you can't outhire it. It only moves if you actively train it. Just like athletes build athletic capacity, you must build your cognitive capacity through repetition. through progressive overload. It's slightly more discomfort every time so your nervous system adapts. Immediate feedback, so you have enough reps that create that myelination around your brain circuits. And over time, you become extremely good at doing the thing you first dreaded. Not because you suddenly started loving the task, but because your brain expanded the capacity ceiling. And it took me about 30 days to make it absolutely automatic. I shift my beliefs by actively training my skills and my behaviors. In other words, the more volume you do, especially if it's feedback informed volume, the faster you rewire your brain to get better at that specific task. And that's what you need if you're currently stuck. Because if you've managed to build a business to 20, 30, 50, 100K, you already know what needs to happen for you to get to 1, 2, 5 millions. And it's not a new marketing strategy. It's 10xing the volume on what you are already doing. It is the gap between what you know what you need to do and what you actively are executing on that separates you from that destination. The best solution is to literally find the exact root cause of why you're not executing at that level. The exact reason, the exact belief, exact skill, the exact behavior that is missing for you to actually execute at the level you need. We offer a 3-minute score that you can run to find the exact root cause, the thing that is actively limiting you. So find the link below and finally get the clarity you need to get to the next level. See you in the next video.